Hey, Jeremiah, can you get the back door over here on the right? Thanks. Cool. All right, guys. Just wanted to welcome everybody. My name is Mario Tapia. I work at GetJar, and today we're gonna cover love apps, mobile dating. The Twitter hashtag today is MomoSV, if you guys want to reach out. Today we also have our moderator, Deepak Thomas, from eBay, but has previous experience in love apps. He's a heavy user of them, by the way. So, also our panelists, we have Romain. Romain's here? Romain? Romain's not here yet? Romain. I think he's around. Okay, and I don't know, Deepak, did Romain, has he come?
Yeah, I just saw him a minute ago.
Yeah, he's
okay. Okay, cool. Neil Goldberg got ill this weekend, so he thinking too much Super Bowl celebrating, so couldn't make it today. Sophie's here from Rendez-Vous Labs, and also Steve Paddon from Trilibis is here. The format today is I'll kind of go through a couple of slides to tell you about Mobile Monday. And then we will have our host, AOL, which is thank you for all the great pizza and pop. And I think Miley Cyrus, not to be confused with the Disney person who will be talking, welcoming for AOL. But how many here tonight's first night? Yeah, wow. Whew. Great. We have a 12-step process for you guys to join the team. So a little bit about Mobile Monday. Basically, this is a grassroots organization, guys. Mobile Monday is just a name slapped to it, but they're, back in 1999 when I was doing an event like this, Seattle Mobile in Seattle, there's a lot of grassroots organization groups just starting up to talk about mobile, and they're a little bit more techy, but now we've kind of done a lot of maturity here. But basically, it's to help. I think the number one focus here is education. So tonight we'll learn a bit about the business of dating apps, and also it's a lot of networking. So I think a lot of you guys in different sectors, the whole cross-section of the ecosystem is pretty well represented. We're a large international organization. We're in all the different continents. We're over 100,000 members globally, and I think this is old. We're over in 100 cities now, after a nice gift from the World Bank to open up Mobile Mondays in Africa. And in 2010, we had over almost 900 events. So we do a lot of high-impact events, something like tonight. Last year we had over 800 at our NFC event, so we get pretty big depending on the topic. We're big, so when you guys are traveling, pretty much every major city in the world has a Mobile Monday on a Monday night, except in India. For some reason, it's on Saturday. But I think that has a lot to do with companies supporting North American hours, so it ends up being only on Saturdays. Just kind of overview, we're a nonprofit. All of us here are not paid. It's all volunteer. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. I think a lot of us definitely enjoy it. It's definitely giving back to the community from all the things that we've taken from it. Here's some group stats. So this is kind of a cross-section of 2011. We had good section here on business development. Developers, we're still here, I think. Okay, who's a developer here? Who actually writes code? Let's put it that way. Okay, all right, cool, okay. Product marketing, who's in product marketing? Doesn't write code. Okay, awesome. Okay, who has money? See, you got people who have money. Angel, who are the angels out here? Any angels?
Well,
don't be shy.
Are you saying angel investors or angels? Those are two different.
The people with no. Well, do angels have wings? Also, media. Anybody from the media? Not just because you have a blog. Not media. Remember, it was the case like, hey, I'm in media. I write a blog. Right? So we also have some previous sponsors. So some big companies like to sponsor us, but also we kind of restructured our sponsorship. Thanks to Daniel and Jeremiah, and so we actually do support a lot smaller donations of I think $20. I think kind of tip jar that we have. You can find on the website. So definitely there's different tiers of sponsorship. So, okay, there was a long survey, and I think it was like 20 questions. I hope it wasn't too long. But I wanted to ask you, and I do this every month, guys, so you kind of see the progress of, this is your data. This is the people who have signed up. And we do this every month just to, to kind of see the feel of where trends are going in Silicon Valley. So definitely here, iPhone, iOS, a lot of people have it. This is your personal phone. Android, still gaining, and there's some events actually. Android's almost on par with iOS. BlackBerry, these are definitely very efficient people, still cranking out emails. So Nokia's in the house with Symbian, or a lot of Europeans are visiting. I guess we're pretty close to HP, some of the WebOS. We're the WebOS guys here. Come on, screenshot. Former recovering WebOS user. And Windows Phone. And Windows Phone, this is what people are using, and over time this thing is growing. So, and Windows Phone is definitely something I want to be watching for, because you'll see people, what platforms are you supporting, and it's going to change a little bit. We also looked at the role, and so tonight, definitely really heavy on the people who don't code. And then, yeah, so kind of an interesting breakdown here. First time attending, so yeah, like half of it. It's funny, it's like half, always half of the audience is new. Why would you like to attend? So on the far left, learn more about mobile education, looking for a job. So if you guys definitely, the economy here is booming, right? There's no sign that we're in a recession valley. And we'll do some announcements at the end. With like 6, 7 announcements. And if you're looking for a job, and especially if you're an engineer, oh my God, you should not be looking for a job right now. But you should definitely be employed. But networking with industry and colleagues. So a lot of you guys still want to meet and greet people. So what platforms do you support from an operating standpoint? So iOS and Android definitely dominate the market. Windows Mobile is growing, guys. And so this is going to be interesting to see. Definitely overseas, when an iOS device is $900, $800. You guys are like, really? I only pay $200 to AT&T. That's subsidized. So if you go to Brazil, you go to Southeast Asia, you're definitely in the top one. You're a 1%er in that country. So Android is really, and I think Windows Mobile are definitely the strong smartphone platforms that will, by just gross numbers, will dominate the world. And then there's the web app people who kind of be like, hey, it's going to be all about web apps. But we'll see. I think it'll be a different mix. And RIM and Symbian. I think I've seen a little bit of RIM decline. Symbian has definitely declined in the last few years. And WebOS trying to maintain a base there. So it kind of asks a hard question: if you could build apps for only one platform, what would it be? And really, contenders for iOS, Android, and HTML5. And interesting. Wow, more people would build a web app than they would on Android. But this definitely changes. If I did an HTML5, topic, yeah.
It's because you get Android with HTML5.
Yeah. So the other one is, if you're publishing to different app stores, you definitely have GetJar, Android Marketplace, and Amazon. And I always kind of hit hard on this one, because not just because I work at GetJar, it's just from a basic marketing perspective. I know managing the publishing to these 3 different platforms is a pain in the ass, but if you do that, 10% lift on any market. If you just solely, I'm doing 100% on Marketplace, you're really kind of missing out on maybe 20, 25%, 30% extra distribution, extra revenue you could be getting just with a few more minutes of publishing your app. So this is just something I just want to focus on, guys, because just from free advice, the more markets, the more app distribution channels you have, the more revenue you're going to make. Also, kind of what topics would you like more of? And it's really monetization and marketing, and how to make money. So we are addressing that this year, so we're definitely going to have a lot more topics on how to get more downloads, how to monetize better. Definitely a lot more topics in the pipeline for that, and a lot of technical discussions as well for the engineers on that. Definitely going to do more demo nights as well. I think finding what's new in the Valley, and giving you guys, definitely the small guy, some visibility is real important, especially with a large audience like this with investors and also potential partners. And also mixers, I think Artie's here. He kind of does all the party stuff for us. And then also technical APIs, code on the wall. And Jeremiah is going to come out later and do some announcements of an event that we're doing later this month. That is engineers only, please. So I saw Tim Chang, who's a VC, sign up for this. Definitely not, if you want code writers for this one. Also asked, so I kind of asked, basically, the first couple set of questions were, where are we in the ecosystem when it comes to platforms? Now I'm kind of, this year I wanted to focus on, hey, what kind of SDKs and monetizations that things are people using, and kind of just, and share that data with you. So, far left, it's advertising. So, from the people that answered this, advertising was big. Payments and billing, followed by app promotion, and then analytics. So basically, everyone should have analytics, I think, because it's really what kind of a business can you have without understanding who and what's being used. The other one is what types of advertising SDKs do you use? Ad networks versus ad mediation, and probably in a later topic we'll cover what is mediation. How many of you guys know what mediation is? Okay, yeah, we should definitely have a topic on mediation. Okay, Brandon, what is mediation? We should definitely do something there. So, also, what types of ads make you more money? Far left is app install and promotion. Okay. Paid to video. Hey, video is actually doing pretty well for some folks. Interstitials seem also effective, and also banner ads. So, and this is just a handful. I picked some of the popular ones, but there's a ton of ad spots out there. What are your daily active users like? So most people don't know what their DAUs are. How many people know the daily active user? That's how many people, actually, unique users come to your site. I said, hey, do you have like 0 to 100,000? Yeah. Hey, at least 31 publishers kind of said, yeah, we got some good traction. How about 100,000 to 500,000? That's okay, a little less. How about over 500,000 a day? That's pretty big, guys. Actually, if you're able to make 10 cents or $1 off of each daily active user a day, that's you're in a real business. So, just want to do a breakdown there. Also asked another question about what's the time life value or the time value of a new user. And so, most applications, games, etc., have a 2 to 3 month lifespan, right? And Facebook's not in that bucket, nor is Angry Birds or Words with Friends. But this gives you an idea of some apps really don't stick that well, or they have a really defined value. So a lot of people are making some good money though. So you can actually make more than $1 for the lifetime value of a user, even if they only last for a couple of months. 0 to 10 cents is probably where I would see most of the sweet spots. And this is with advertising as well, guys. So you're not making much more than $1 per user on average for the lifetime values. And this is really kind of getting into the business of apps and kind of understand like, hey, I'm a new startup, I'm going to do these apps, and we really didn't think about the business models. Here's some numbers to take a look at so you can do some calculations on, hey, am I really going to be able to hire 20 engineers, or is it just me and my buddy? So there's some data there. Which ad network makes you the most money? Okay, it's kind of personal, but okay. And Moatti guys, can you not vote for yourselves if you're not using, or the ad mob guys? So I saw a lot of people. Hey, okay, you can vote for yourself. But I was looking at it like, really, there's so many people. Like, who's using them? But here's kind of a breakdown. And you can drop me an email if, hey, my network's not there. And definitely would like to add you guys. But just took kind of the skin off the top of what I was finding that was popular. So we have Velti, InMobi, we have AdPhonic, we have other, we have iAds, AdMob, definitely big players in this space, and then Millennium Media. Just drop me an email if you guys want to have your network added, and so we can start aggregating some of this data to take a look at it. And that's pretty much it on the data. I just want to talk about, okay, what kind of events do we do? Besides this big meetup, we do the CXO dinner. The CXO dinner is really a round table of executives. It's invite only. We have sponsors, and they also have some agenda of like, hey, these are the types of companies I like to mingle with and meet with. And So this is kind of what we do. Artie kind of runs that for us, puts that together. So we try to do this at least once a quarter or every other month. The other thing we're doing, and I don't know, Jeremiah, if you want to come up and talk about the lab stuff. Or Brandon, if you guys want to come up here. So Jeremiah and Brandon are the two guys that are taking on this Mobile Monday Labs project, and this is really focused on developer.
Happy Monday, everybody. So what we're trying to do here is make sure that Mobile Monday can still foster a developer ecosystem. We love events like this where we get marketing folks and angels and biz dev people, and we can all bring those together with engineers, but we're recognizing there's still a need for an engineer-focused event, and that's why we're bringing out Mobile Monday Labs. So the first one will be February 20th. We're going to have them at the Verizon Innovation Center on the Embarcadero in San Francisco. Really awesome spot. So what we're going to talk about the first time is in-app billing and payments. So we'll have 3 SDK, API, developer-focused companies come in, talk about their products, and provide you with demos and hands-on engineering support. So it's going to be extremely boring if you're not a code writer. So please just don't even bother signing up. But you can sign up at momolabs-payments.eventbrite, and we'll be sending out an email pretty shortly about it. But it's going to be a lot of fun if you're interested in mobile development, in making more money off your apps, in doing some carrier billing. I highly recommend you come out and check it out.
So who do we got? Who do you got for?
So we have Verizon is going to be talking about their in-app billing API. Was it Boku, formerly Zong, and Billing Revolution. So 3, 4, if you count Verizon, developer-focused companies. They're going to be there solely to educate you and provide you tools you need to make more money. So can you raise your hand if you write code? So mobile developers who write code, interested. Who of those people is interested in making more money? So those of you should sign up. Remember, it's momolabs-payments.eventbrite, and we'll see you there. If you have any questions, Brandon and I are here. Feel free to ask us.
All right. I guess, Miley, do you want to come up? Sure. So I introduced Miley. She's our host tonight, and she's going to have a few things to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bear with me while we get this next laptop set up. So how about them Giants? Anyone? No, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, Big Blue. There we go. I am a 49ers fan, Palo Alto, born and raised. Very sad day. All right, let's see if we can get this going. So first of all, welcome to AOL. We have a very, very awesome building that we absolutely love, and I'm glad that all of you are here. Welcome to Mobile Monday. I admit this is only maybe my 2nd or 3rd, and I've been working in mobile for about 3.5 years, so I think I need to get on the train. I signed up, I'm now receiving emails, and I'm ready to get involved. Let's see if we can make this work. Oh, technology. Did I break it?
Your computer broke it.
My computer broke it. Maybe I'll just get going, and hopefully a really awesome reel is going to pop up at some point. So, my name is Miley Krause, and I work here on the mobile monetization team at AOL. I focus on rich media, sales support, and innovation across not only this office, but our San Francisco office, and help out in LA and some other offices as well. I'm absolutely thrilled to be up here speaking today. For those AOLers in the room, they know that I'm fairly new. I admit that I haven't quite hit my 2-month anniversary mark, but I could not imagine a more exciting place to be. We have amazing support, all the way from the interns that are so excited to work and learn about mobile, all the way up to our CEO, Tim Armstrong, who is pushing mobile like none other. I mean, I could not ask for a better and more supportive CEO. I recently attended our 2012 sales kickoff meeting in Washington, D.C. last month, and I felt like every conversation was about mobile. What does AOL offer? What does AOL offer? You have any ideas?
Lots of great technology.
Yeah. How are we different? How do we scale to our competition? And frankly, who is our competition? Our competition is the technology right now. All right, so countless questions and curiosity, which honestly makes my job very, very fun. The answers to all those questions are really simple. We have award-winning content in the Huffington Post, movie exclusives in Movie Phone, and every techie's dream in Engadget and Distro. Who has read Distro here? Everyone should. Everyone. Go download it when you get home. So then comes the innovation piece, which I absolutely love. 3D immersive ad units, entertaining video content, and a push towards cutting-edge, rich media. Frankly, it's hard to compete with AOL. So what's AOL's mobile strategy? We have two very simple principles. You're gonna get that, baby? Two very simple, yes!
Yeah.
All right, two very simple principles. The first of which is desktop to mobile, and the second is mobile first. AOL's content is so valuable that frankly, it only makes sense to offer a platform-agnostic solution for consuming content. Huffington Post readers are going to go to Huffington Post on their computer, on their iPad, and on their phones when they're on the go. So why restrict their access to receiving that information? The next principle is mobile first. AOL creates products like the Editions iPad app with the mobile consumer in mind. It's a weekly magazine with curated content and immersive ad units that honestly have consumers coming back week over week to see a magazine that is created just for them, just for the tablet. And I'm going to start playing a reel, so you guys can kind of watch, but hopefully you'll still listen to some things that I'm saying. Another big question that comes up, and I'm confident that it comes up based on the polls that I just saw, is why do we choose advertising? Why is AOL in mobile advertising? I think it's a great question. AOL is a content company first and foremost, and we view advertising as a growth opportunity within that. We have hundreds of account managers and sellers across the nation, and with our friendly friends up in Canada, who are eager and willing to sell mobile like never before. As mobile grows, and hey, for those of us who've been in mobile, 2012 could finally be the year that it's the year of mobile. We AOLers want to be at the forefront of it all. So I thank you for bearing with our technical issues. Let's finish watching this one. A little highlight reel. How many people knew that, or I guess know that AOL can create all these things in-house on a design perspective? Anyone? Only a few hands? Some people? What do you think? Not too shabby, right? Not too bad? So that kind of concludes my little introduction. I'm very proud of everything that's up here, and a month and a half in, can only imagine that this will grow and continue to expand and push creative limitations. I do have to make a little plug that AOL is hiring, so all you engineers out there, iOS, Android, come find us, talk to us. The link, in case anyone's writing it down, is about.me/AOL Tech Jobs. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out. I love learning about new companies. I can't imagine anything better, and I feel like I'm in such a fortunate community that really loves all of this. I mean, who doesn't think this is fun? This is awesome. So anyways, I'm not going to waste any more time because we have some awesome people that are about to speak. But I'd like to thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. And welcome, Mario.
Thanks, Miley. So just to give you guys some context before we start the panel discussion, we're going to do 2 quick demos with Rendezvous Labs and also with Meexo. So I'm just going to set up a document viewer real quick so they can do their demo. Sophie? Hello, Sophie? You're up. Cool. Don't send me text messages. Cool. We'll try.
All right, everybody can hear me? Perfect. Everybody can hear me? Okay, so question, please raise your hand if you're single in this room. Okay. And now lower your hand if nobody has ever tried to match you up with someone. So Rendezvous is based on the most effective way to meet people, which is getting introduced via friends. This is how the experience looks like. Most likely you come here, it's a mobile web site, because somebody invited you to join. And so usually that person will actually set you up with somebody. And so you'll want to check out their profile. You log in with Facebook, so your profile is created automatically for you. And if you're interested in them, maybe what you'll do is you'll invite them on a date. Most of our users, because they're set up from friends to friends, aren't necessarily shy of inviting people on dates like very quickly because they feel like it's a done deal. So you'll select an activity, confirm that the person's been invited, and then most likely you'll move on and you'll check out other people. Right. And so you'll see like profiles of the friends of your friends, and you can see who is on the service who can help you, give you an opinion, make an introduction, and you can track, who's being a good friend and who's not being too helpful. And you can also play matchmaker with your friends. That means that if you want to set up somebody, you'll be able to either identify amongst your friends who is a potential match for them, or invite fellow matchmakers to help you find somebody for that person.
Hi everybody, my name is Romain. I am one of the co-founders of Meexo. So I'm going to show you, actually this is the very first kind of demo we show on the phone, on the device. I'm going to show you how the app looks like. And we are not live yet, but if you are interested, you can actually pre-sign up on Meexo.com. It's meexo.com. So the experience of Meexo is actually, you just look at people's profiles like this. So it's like a nice kind of, full screen pictures. And you can interact with those profiles by, let's say, putting this menu. You can see a short description of people, you can see more information, you can see more photos, and so on and so on. The thing is, one mission that we have is we're trying to remove the creepiness away from online dating. And that's a big, big mission. And we're doing that with 3 different things. The first one is what we call the reverse social graph. So what we do is we use your direct connections on social networks to prevent you to expose your profile to these people. So typically your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your coworkers won't be able to see you. And we believe that actually this is one of the major friction for people today to join dating sites. So that's one thing what we're doing. The second thing we do is we are mobile only, and right now we are iPhone only. And we made a decision to limit the number of profiles you can create to 1 per device. So therefore, you cannot actually create multiple accounts, and everybody is actually a real person. And the last thing we do is, because we are iPhone only, you can message each other, you can message or you can text message people without revealing your phone number. And that's actually something that was very appealing to women when we developed this product. And here I have my dashboard, and I can actually complete my profile. I can do a bunch of different things. And we also have a credit system. So instead of allowing you to message anybody, everybody, we want to kind of limit the quantity of messages and augment and increase the quality of messages. So each message you send costs you some credits, and it's always free to reply. So no longer will women get too many messages and men get too few replies. So that's a quick demo of Meexo.
All right, we're just going to set up the moderation here. I'd like to introduce Deepak Thomas. Hey, Deepak, come over and take the stage.
Yeah, Deepak wants to sit down as well.
All right, I'll start the introductions. I'm Steve Paddon. I'm with Trilibis Mobile. We are a provider of mobile web technologies and development services. I'm here today because we power the mobile web experience for Match.com, as well as we've been doing that since 2007. So the experience has evolved considerably over the time that we've been engaged with Match.com and providing that experience. We also have enabled some other online brands, much smaller players in the space, powered their mobile web experience, such as WebDate and Amigos.com. And originally the company was founded in 2003 as a creator of what we believe was the first mobile social network. It was a product called Peeps Nation. It no longer exists, but there were some good lessons learned that's probably relevant to any of you in the audience that's interested in this vertical. So a variety of things seeing a lot of things in this space, in this particular vertical, as well as a lot of other verticals. We power other brands like Fandango and Dictionary.com runs on our platform. So we have a lot of insight into various verticals, and there's some interesting things about this vertical that maybe I can bring to the table in this panel.
Sophie, you want to go next?
Sure. All right, so can you guys hear me? So I'm Sophie-Charlotte Moatti. I'm co-founder CEO of Rendez Labs. Prior to founding Rendez Labs, I've been in mobile for most of my career. I was a general manager at Nokia of a top 1% app, got millions of downloads and a couple of industry awards. I also worked for startups like mobile startups like Tango, and really my passion is mobile consumer experiences. I speak often on entrepreneurship and mobile, and then got a
What's your favorite
engineering background.
Hey, I want to do this. What's your favorite mobile app?
Right now,
Yeah.
I use Path a lot. I think it's an awesome experience.
So hi again, everybody. Actually, I did speak at Mobile Monday once, and it was in 2004. And I think there were about 15 people in the room, so it's quite impressive to see where we are today. So I've also been in mobile for a while. I worked before Meexo. I worked at a company called Lumos Labs. It's a brain training company based in San Francisco, lumosity.com, running mobile products for them. Before that, I was at Apple. I worked on the iPhone product marketing team. And before that, I was at Orange.
Your favorite app?
My favorite app, that's a hard one. I have one every day. I would say I've been pretty impressed with Instagram, what they've done in space. So.
Hi, I'm Deepak Thomas. I'm general manager of eBay Classifieds and also for their mobile classifieds business. My association with mobile dating, so to speak, is well, it's twofold. One is I used to run the mobile business for Match.com, and the other more important and personal claim to fame is that I met my fiancée at Match.com, not necessarily correlated to mobile, but an interesting factoid for those who care. And my favorite mobile app is the New Yorker Goings On application. So if you're in New York and you want to figure out what to do in your spare time, it's a great resource to use. Not much of a coincidence that we have two French people on a panel on love, so I realize that puts Steve at a disadvantage, so I'm going to shoot the first question for him. So, based on my experience, I've seen that mobile definitely increases engagement for dating applications that have taken off on the web. The thing that I'm always curious about, and I haven't really gotten a good answer to this, would love to have you weigh in. Does mobile truly present a an orthogonal, unique opportunity beyond what the web provides today, or is it just another channel, which is adding on traffic and bringing on more engagement for the brand?
Yeah, so I'd say in our experience, we would see it as primarily another channel. Augmenting an online brand, providing a different use case, enabling a different use case, the immediacy of somebody trying to reach out to you and you wanting to respond to them quickly. But usually, at least with the typical products in this space, if it doesn't have an online component and a dominant online component, there's functionalities like creating a large profile that really aren't easy to do on a small device, or maybe you want to access photos that are on your PC but not necessarily on your phone, or vice versa. So that there really are different channels and different features and functionalities that are unique to the different platforms. But if you only have one and not the other, there's a lot of synergy that you lose out on.
Yeah, so we actually see mobile as a huge way to revolutionize online dating. Today, when you look at the stats, only 2 out of 5 singles use online dating, and that's a very small amount. Like, what do the other 60 million people in the US who are single do to find a date? And we think that mobile is going to provide a solution for most of them, because it's a device that's extremely personal, that represents them and their identity. And when you look for love, you look for something that's really close to you and intimate. And your mobile device is something that's going to drive a lot of that, connecting with more people in a more personal way.
Romain, your experience with Meexo?
Yeah, we also believe that mobile presents a new opportunity, and actually every time you have a new platform, that creates new opportunities, and we saw that with Vous in that space that leverage very well the Facebook platform. So I think what's very unique about mobile is you can make the experience so much better just because it's a mobile device. And if you're trying to, and I can give you a few examples. One, we actually the fact that it's a personal device, so it's one device per person, can actually cut a lot of these fake profiles of these the kind of behaviors that you don't want to see, and the cost to actually misbehave is very high. If you have a mobile-only kind of approach, you can actually cut any kind of people who misbehave, so that's a huge difference. And I would say, generally speaking, you have to think about you have basically three different things you're trying to address. One is actually you want to acquire users, and that's where clearly Match.com will have a great advantage when you go to mobile. You also want to engage your user community, and finally you want to monetize your user base. And every time you go from one platform to the other platform, there's a lot of friction. You use a lot of people on the way. So if you acquire users on mobile, if you engage users on mobile, but if you monetize them on websites, that's going to create a lot of friction for you.
Got it. Great. One usage that we were not expecting while we were at Match was that there were a ton of users who, when we interviewed them, they said that the primary use case for the mobile application was at work because they could not access their work computers, they could not access Match on their work computers. So totally unexpected, but yet another use case for mobile dating. A different question altogether, and I start with Sophie this time. So mobile, obviously, above and beyond what the web has to offer in terms of sensors on the device is very rich. The GPS camera, the accelerometer, all of these are interesting technologies by themselves. So curious how, especially with you deploying your application as a web application, how the sensors come into play, and the fact that the sensors exist, does that change dating on a mobile device?
Yeah, so one of the advantages of a mobile device is it's an extension of yourself. So it has a camera or which is an extension of your eyes. It has a touch element, which is an extension of your hand. It has like voice recognition, extension of your voice. So definitely we think that all the great hardware improvements that the smartphone waves have been bringing to technology and innovation is going to make dating a lot more personal and therefore reach more people.
Great. So with HTML5, and this is sort of a segue from Sophie's answer, Steve, do you think that with HTML5 gaining currency as we expect it to, and as is the case right now, do you sense that the mobile dating game will change when the shift happens towards HTML5 capable applications, or would it stay about the same?
Well, I think the HTML5 is already in a state where it can already service this vertical pretty well. The one thing that's really missing, and it's not really necessarily a problem with HTML5, but access to the camera or even access to the shared directory to get the pictures off the device can be a problem from the browser. And that's a big barrier for web apps in this vertical. GPS is there for the most part, but unless you're using that effectively, that can actually be a problem for your community because that brings clearly a creepiness that you want to avoid in this space. But the fundamental difference is how you're acquiring users. If you need the App Store to leverage as a different distribution channel, and certainly you need to do that if you're a startup, then the HTML5 doesn't really help you there. Whereas if you are really driving it through SEO or through email click-throughs and you have different channels like that, then HTML5 works really effectively at trying to draw those users in and retaining them. And one other element, of course, is the Apple tax. And if you are an established brand and you can establish the credit card billing and have those on file with your user base, then you want to avoid the tax if you can.
Yeah, so that's an
Just one
interesting.
comment
Sure,
on
yeah,
that.
go ahead.
One comment on HTML5. We've been using it for for our current beta, and it's been awesome because one advantage of using web technology on mobile is that you can release and iterate extremely quickly, so you don't have to go through building for multiple platforms, getting through like a 3-week, 2-week, whatever approval processes. So you can incorporate your customer feedback extremely quickly, and you can also do a lot of A/B testing to see where you get the best conversions.
The two questions that I had that came out of both what Steve and Sophie had to say, one was about monetization itself, and maybe we should take that one on, and the other was well, creepiness, and I think Romain touched on that during his demo. Sophie, can I pass the buck back to you and talk a bit about monetization specifically with your product and how you see it heading into the future? If you think in-app purchase models are the way to go, or with the web app, you're not constrained by the App Store payment models. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I don't know how long those taxes are going to last, and I'm sure some people will want to find ways to break them. So it's a friction right now. How long this is going to last, that I don't know. In terms of monetization, what we see is that traditional dating services, whether they're online or on mobile, are using what we think is a broken model, which is pay to play, right? So pay us a subscription, and as long as you stay single, we'll collect your money. So really, what's the incentive to get you to success? It's kind of like the gym membership model, right? You pay everything up front at the beginning of the year, whether you actually get in shape or not, like who cares, right? So we think that this model is broken, and that there's going to be a lot of innovation and disruption to get people and companies, like dating companies, aligned incentive-wise.
Yeah, I tend to disagree with that. I think a mobile dating app helps you build a pipeline, doesn't it? Yeah.
But the pipeline is only like the first part of the relationship, right? Then you have to drive it to closure.
In fact, the fact we call this market online dating is actually probably wrong. We should call it online introductions,
Yes.
because that's really what those companies are doing.
Yes.
As soon as you meet the person, they're done. You have to move to you're on your own, basically. So I think, actually in French, we call that, the translation in French would be like rencontre sur Internet, online introduction, online meeting, as opposed to like online dating. And I think it's a much better way to describe it. So yeah, so once you meet somebody, you're on your own. And I think this is also something that we see a lot of opportunities about changing, is providing services beyond just these introductions. And because it's a mobile device, it's a much more like a natural fit for you. It's a much more like, it's between the online world and the real world. And that naturally fits in between. So we can actually bring the power of online and the proximity, the closeness of real life to make a better experience beyond just introductions.
So on that note, do either of you guys do any direct response marketing, any sort of marketing to bring customers to use your app or your site? Have you considered it at some point in time?
We don't do that right now. Again, we haven't really launched our product. We have beta users, and we're live in Canada. But first we want to make sure we have a good experience. Nothing is broken, and so that's not different in the short term. In the long term, once the funnel works, once the conversions actually work, yes, absolutely, we're going to try like different like marketing channels, but we're not at the point yet.
Got it. One of the things that make mobile marketing interesting in the dating context is how high the lifetime value typically is for users, especially for subscription-based services or those services that do believe in subscriptions. Because of that, your cost of acquisition can actually be a much bigger number as compared to, say, an application that monetizes at $1 a download. Steve, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on that. I think one of the things that's true about this vertical, it's one of the few verticals left that people don't mind paying to play. And there's not much in terms of online services that still exists for. That may change with your innovation and destroy that model, that mindset of the consumers, but in the meantime, that's pretty powerful. That's a great thing to have going for you. And the other thing that's nice about this vertical is that it's not really a zero-sum game. It's analogous to when you post a job listing. You usually don't just post it on one job board. And a lot of people subscribe to multiple dating services when they're on the market, and so you're not necessarily, there's opportunity actually, I think, to collaborate a lot more among the overall dating vertical. But the pay-to-play model has been a fundamental for the whole industry to monetize, and consumers have been willing to do it, and boy, I would be really reticent to move away from that, if at all possible. It's been very hard in our experience to even play with where the paywall goes, because the real hook in dating is that there's a community here that wants to meet you, and you can reach out to them, but if you want it to interact, then you pay, and that's a very powerful force to get people to get out their credit card or however they're going to pay for that service.
So I want to go back to a topic that's sort of a vexing topic for people who want to start a service in mobile dating, which is, on one hand, you have the power of the GPS on this new platform, and it seems like such a nice fit for something as serendipitous as mobile dating. One of the first assignments that I got at Match when I started there was, we need to figure out how to get people to meet up on the go. And very quickly, without writing a single line of code, we figured that that would be creepy. So, any thoughts? And I know that Romain sort of you brought that topic up, right? For when you did your demo. So, would love to hear thoughts on that, and also I also want to bring in a social angle. I know that this is a long-winded question, but one of the things that we noticed when we tried to bring social plus mobile into dating was even social plus dating was very incendiary in the sense that the last set of people that I want the information that I'm out there to be known is my group of friends and family. So it's almost like there's every incentive to not connect to Facebook if and when I'm signing up for a dating application. So if you want to touch on both topics, that would be great.
Yeah, so about the location, I think you're right. Like we do see a lot of apps in the App Store today leveraging location for dating, and I think there's a difference between what technology allows you to do and what makes sense to people, and it's clearly not in a what makes sense to people category. It's not because you are like 10 feet away from me that you are a better match than if you are a mile away from me. If I want to hook up, maybe. For Grindr, for the gay guy community, that works great. They're very successful. But for the straight community, this is a huge challenge, especially for women who find it to be very creepy to actually disclose your location, broadcast your location to strangers. So I think there are much smarter ways to use location in a way which is not creepy, in a way that makes sense to users. And we are actually exploring like a few things, nothing that we are going to launch anytime soon on that topic, but there are definitely ways to use location in a non-creepy way. And I think we will see a lot of innovation in that space. And the second thing you mentioned about the social aspect, so absolutely, I mean this is why we believe that we want to go one step further, which is we want to make sure that none of the direct connections can see your profile. And I used to work at Apple, and I remember like talking to one of my former coworkers there, and she was on Match.com, and she told me I would pay a lot of money to make sure nobody at Apple could see my profile on Match. And I know a lot of people told me I would pay a lot of money to make sure my ex-boyfriend doesn't see me or my ex-girlfriend doesn't see me. So I think we are in 2012. This is a time where Facebook is going to have like 1 billion users. We can leverage the social graph. We can leverage the social intelligence to make sure that we can guarantee a better experience for the user. And that's what we're trying to do. And to Sophie's point, there are only about 30% of singles in the US who are using online dating sites. If you remove like one of the major friction away from them, tomorrow there will be like 50%, 60%, 80%. And I think this is definitely what we're trying to do, and this is where we believe the opportunity is. We're more excited about the remaining 70%, than trying to get market share in the existing user base.
So on location, I completely agree with Romain. There are like smarter and better ways to leverage location in dating. Several of them we've started to play with, and they'll be coming out. And you know, there are also fuzzier way to use location, right? So I live in San Francisco is okay to disclose as opposed to I live on, you know, that block. And then you know, on kind of identity, it's interesting because I really disagree with what has been said. I think that dating is actually inherently social, and if you see that, you know, just on TV, right? Sex and the City, and so, you know, on average, the data is women talk with about 3 girlfriends about their dates, and they talk constantly about it, and guys talk with 1 married woman in general about their dates, right? So, and by the way, like, depending on what you're looking for, right? I wonder what you're doing when you're hiding in your closet, but it's not my business. If you're looking for relationships that have, you know, some meaning, you know, some potential for meaning, marriage or just, you know, relationship, then you want to make sure that actually those people are like friend approved, right? And it's not like approval, but it's more like, are they going to get along with your friends and be a part of your life?
You know, I do see Sophie's point there. One of the theses that I would have loved to explore and didn't quite get a chance to do so at Match was this idea that you know, in the old world, people sort of had a list of criteria that, you know, height, weight, education, sense of humor, and looks, and they had these criteria that they carried around with them, and then when they saw potential, they would match up the potential with those criteria and see how that person tallied up. I think there's sort of an evolution in perceptions where individuals are more and more breaking the ice, if you want to call it that, with the context of media that they consume. Or in other words, one of the best icebreakers are about the movies that you watch, the music that you listen to, and your politics, what have you. So one of the great proxies for, believe it or not, one of the great proxies for the kind of person who you are the locations that you've been at. So if I shop at Trader Joe's versus Safeway, if I go to a wine bar versus a sports bar, it says something about me. And you're able to build these massive correlations, which then, if you're able to apply to other people in your database, that makes it, at the very least, it creates these interesting icebreaker opportunities that then you can use to break the ice.
Just to comment on that, it makes a lot of sense to me. I haven't seen it effectively leveraged yet. Maybe it has, but I'm not a consumer of mobile dating products these days. But
Steve, you got special dispensation.
have lots of access. But you know, it makes sense as a pull, not a push, but a pull of information. And it seems a lot more natural. That's how you get to know people in the real world, is common interests. And I wonder, it seems like in this vertical, people aren't necessarily real honest with themselves about who they are and what they're looking for, and that's a big barrier to having the actual meetup experience and it being not what you expected. Whereas I think if that information does come from your real activities, it's a lot more realistic about who's going to pair up well, and I think that's a good evolution of this whole space to go that direction.
Great. One question that I was kind of curious of, this is really operational more than anything else. Are there certain days of the week or times of the year or the months that mobile dating works better than other times in your experience?
Well, so we don't have a lot of data because we haven't launched. But one thing which is one trend which is very much happening today is actually people already spend more time on mobile dating apps than they do on websites. And that was actually a study that Fleury published a few months ago. I think it's 8.3 minutes per day, or 8.4 minutes per day anyway. So we start to see the shift of people going away from computers to mobile. And I think one of the, so we definitely have a lot of usage during the weekend because there are more app usage during the weekend than during the week. I think one thing that people are always mistaking in a way is that people believe that mobile devices are always used on the go, but as soon as they are at home, they use their computer. And that's not true. I think it's about 50% of the usage of mobile devices actually are happening at home. So you might be laying down on the couch, maybe in your bed, whatever, and you're going to use your phone. You're not going to use your computer. So I think little by little, the mobile consumption is going to take over. Maybe not 100% of the web consumption for this space, but definitely a very, very large portion.
Anything to share? Yeah?
There's a few interesting trends that we've seen. It's one of the types of applications where the usage is fairly steady 24 hours a day, and you have people that are lonely throughout the day, can't sleep or whatever. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is around the holidays, leading up to holidays, you'll see usage increase. And I don't know if it's because they're planning on going to Thanksgiving dinner and don't want to show up alone. There's a lot of social dynamics going on in the usage case. And it is also a vertical that's unique in that where the mobile use case are fairly long sessions compared to something like your local search or something like dictionary.com, where the usage is very purpose-driven. They get in and get out, and a lot of times they are actually on the go. Where it seems like dating, maybe they are at work or they're on a commute or something where they're spending a little more time. And don't interpret that to mean, by the way, that you've got lots of impressions to monetize ads. That's a different topic, but that has, in our experience, been very poor. They don't tend to want to leave. They are very much there for a specific purpose, and unless you're doing super targeted ads specific to the use case, you're not going to click on those either. So they tend to be very focused on the experience in mobile, which is fairly unique to the vertical.
Yeah, I never thought macroeconomics and dating would mix, but 2008 Q4 was probably one of the best quarters for Match.com because that's right after Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. And there's this very interesting correlation, which basically means that this is a great time to start a dating application. There's a very strong correlation between recessions and increase in the number of people who want to go on dating sites and meet people. So that's something that we've consistently.
Hard one to plan.
It's harder to plan. I have one more question for the panel, and then we'll throw it open to the audience for questions. When we talk about mobile dating, we talk about it fairly holistically, right? In the sense that you have a website, and then you have a companion mobile application, or sometimes you have mobile first, and then the web application is in a supporting role. I'm curious as to what you guys think about if mobile can stand on its own when it comes to mobile dating, as in is it really possible to build an application or mobile website and have that be pretty much the use case? The example that comes to mind is Foursquare, not really dating related, but something I have never been to the Foursquare website per se, but the app is really popular.
Yeah. This is our own opinion, obviously, but if you are multi-platform, if your product relies on different platforms, you have two options. One is actually to pick the lowest common denominator, which means you're not going to take advantage fully of what's unique about each platform. And the second option you have is actually to make the products very, very different. And I believe there are challenges in both, whatever you pick. What we decided to do, again, because we believe the future of this industry is going to be on the phone and the smartphone, and I think now it's 50% of people in this country owning a smartphone. I think, so if you assume that the future of this market is going to be on your phone, then it's actually pretty, good assumption to make, or good direction to take, that you want to build for that platform, for the future. And that's what we decided to do, and this is why we decided not to do a website. And then when I say website, I mean like a desktop website. Because we don't want to have a lowest common denominator kind of product. We want to have a product that fully takes advantage of what's unique about the device, whether it's it's a personal device, messaging device, camera. We talk about camera, and location. And there are more things actually that makes this device unique. So that's yes. So to answer your question, yes, I think we can actually fully create a business, a product, fully dedicated to mobile.
Was that a consideration for you? Because I noticed that your application is not really an application, but it's more of a web app than anything else, right?
So we actually want to be on, all three screens. We're starting with mobile because we see that this is, where there are opportunities for breakthrough, and where the experience can really drastically change and be beautiful and compelling. But we also want to go to PC, and we want to go to TV. I mean, we don't want people to care, where and how they meet people.
Well, one caveat I'll throw out about that is, I think maybe depending on the size of your company, obviously you can maybe make it on one platform. But if you plan that and then you decide to evolve, especially if you're using a subscription model, that can be really problematic, because if you're trying to manage subscriptions for the same user across platforms, and you're using the proprietary platform, say, billing on iTunes and maybe credit card on another platform or whatever, and users do evolve their products over time, so they're not going to be dedicated to one device. You have to be thinking about how you're going to manage that moving forward, because that became a nightmare of figuring out how am I going to recognize a subscription for the same user on a different platform if I locked their subscription to a particular device.
Great. Thanks, guys. Question time, audience. Fire away. Romain.
I have a question for Sophia. My name is Romain Petrov, and from mobi.com. I have a question about about user acquisition. So basically, you're going to introduce users based on relationships that they have with their friends. How many friends would you actually go and recommend people to date, and how are you planning to grow? How are you planning to actually acquire users?
Right. So that's a great question. The matchmaker is one of our acquisition channel, like inviting friends and pairing them up, right? And it goes like in many different directions. If you're single, you can ask your friends for introductions, opinions. So that's one way, right? And if you're a matchmaker, you can set up your friends. The matchmaker is not a gatekeeper, and most of the time, people who on our service play matchmaker are actually making, dozens of introductions.
Hi, my name is AJ, founder of Speak With Me. We're a Siri competitor. Sophie, this question is for you. I use Rendezvous all the time and I love it. I think it's fantastic because most of the best people I've met in life have been through my friends. I'm curious how effective your virality mechanics have proven. If you could go into that, please. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, way to go. So our virality mechanism, related to the last question, the matchmaker setting up their friends, and the single asking for introductions from matchmakers, and the singles connecting directly with friends of friends, that's about like a third and a third and a third when it comes to our organic growth and virality.
So I'm interested in the your reverse social graph. That's kind of an interesting idea to me. Problem I see right off the bat with that idea, however, is that, say I have an ex-girlfriend, I'm going to dump her from being able to see my Facebook, so that pretty much eliminates her from being in my social graph. So how are you going to go about building a reverse social graph if I basically cut all contacts to her and her ability to see anything that's going on in my life?
Yeah, so this concept is going to evolve all the time, and the decision we made is actually to keep things simple at first. So at first it's very simple. You log in with Facebook, and we make sure that none of your direct connections can see your profile, and your profile will not be exposed. It's a reverse way. Over time, there will be exceptions. Maybe a lot of people will say, hey, you know what? Actually, I do want 5 of my friends to see my profile, or I do want to block somebody else who is not actually a friend of mine on Facebook. Or I want to expand, this concept beyond Facebook, and I want to add my LinkedIn contacts. So we're going to make everything possible, depending on what the users are demanding.
Whatever happened to making exes jealous?
That's another one.
More questions? You have a question? Over here. It seems to me while you're talking that an app that works for men might be different than an app that works for women. Is that wrong, or if it's not wrong, have you done anything to address that?
So I think it's obviously a big challenge because you're, depending on your gender, you have like different, you have to have different concerns. You have different concerns. You have different priorities. You are different also, and we need to take into account those differences when building the products. The very first thing we did, as soon as we wanted to build a product in that space, is we talked to a lot of people. And we talked to a lot of men, and we talked to a lot of women, especially women, because I'm not a woman and my co-founder is not a woman. So we wanted to see what do they have, what concerns they have in common. And it's very challenging to build a product that please everybody. You have to make some concessions. You have to make some trade-offs. But again, it's the customer development process is the most important part of the quality of this kind of space. You have to make sure you please as many people as possible, whether they are women or men. And then you have like specific specific concerns for people who are looking for the same gender as theirs and so on.
I'd say kind of a little bit that it's simpler than that. In the broad dating space anyway, you get the women there, the guys will come. So you cater to the women and you'll come.
That's exactly what we've been experimenting, and in particular, when you have a friend endorsement, it's a very strong kind of reassuring element for women, and so it drives that type of subscription, and then the men completely follow.
Actually, I think in China there is a virtual world where it's 100% targeting towards women, and everything is actually you can do like a shopping, gossip. I mean, it's really targeting towards women, and 30% of their user base are men. And the reason why they are men is because the women are here. So
yeah. What is the concept of whales, mavens, and followers and freemium in this world? And do you really think that the tension is about being as scaled as possible, or really doing a great job dealing with niches of dating? Because I was just looking up the top 10 dating apps and comparing them to say other niches of dating. You see some apps are really focused on niches, doing really well for that, like Grindr or other stuff that people pick up. And then there's other sites that are actually focused on psychological stuff like Match. Others like Zeus, more cool kind of game mechanic-y. I mean, do you see that as just the limit of it? Because we don't even use things like security for clout. Like the reason the guys at like HomeAway are kicking Airbnb's butt is they have security checks when you want to rent the building. So is there a place for that, like with clout and other things, besides just my friend's opinion of the person? And is that the next level with the amount of data we have?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of times the reason the niche products are actually not niche originally, they create a large consumer base, and then based on the profiles, will create sub-brands from this common database. So they get scaled that way. You can have one large brand, or you can have 10 or 20 niche brands, but they all are one common database. So that's a pretty typical model in the space to get scale. But every brand has to have kind of their hook, and if it's secured checks or whatever, or Harmony's hook is that they fully vet the users extensively or through these psychological analysis. But a lot of those are the hooks. That's what gets them in. Ultimately, it's having a user base that's responsive, that's really going to keep them around, keep them subscribed. But it's kind of the entry and the acquisition that's really focused there on their unique aspect of that, what that brand brings.
I think Romain touched on this. One of the things that make mobile particularly interesting from that standpoint is how your mobile number is unique. And I recently was speaking to someone who was in the SMS business who was not a big fan of the iMessage service that Apple is providing for obvious reasons. It's his bread and butter business. But he feels that the mobile number should be our unique single sign-on ID rather than Twitter or Facebook that are increasingly becoming the driver's license of the internet. So in some ways, to sort of verify that you are who you are and that you're not from another country or from another another state or geography, the mobile number might actually be a good way to establish identity.
Hi. I feel like most users respond to the idea of having to pay and the price of the subscription. And also, at what point do you introduce the price? I mean, is that something that's usually a barrier to entry in your guys' experience, or do most people go in knowing that they're going to end up paying something?
In our experience, yeah, they definitely, that you can leverage that they expect that there's going to be a paywall for the dating vertical in general. That's kind of conditioned from that from online dating, been around for quite a while. And we've experimented where the paywall exists over the years, and really it's the big trigger point for a user is you allow them to outbound communicate to the user base, and then allow them to see that there's users trying to respond to them, and that's where the paywall. They want to read the inbound messaging from that user or whatever communication channel it is. That's the paywall, because now you've got them hooked. And that's the very common model, and anything that we've tried outside of that hasn't monetized near as well. I mean, that's the activation energy to get somebody to pay, is that they think somebody's behind them, that might be their soulmate, right? That's the hook.
I think that, and Sophie and Romain can differ, but one of the things that's unique about dating when it comes to payments, my personal feeling is that payment-based model will not go away anytime soon, because it's a community wherein there's a constant arms race between the service providers, as in the case with Match.com, or the service that these folks are providing, but spammers target these services because it's a higher LTV model, and the companies that charge higher are now better equipped to fight the spammers. And in some ways, the spammers' average LTV by going after that service is always going to be lower than the threshold at which the company monetizes. So it's an arms race that companies that are able to monetize at a higher price point will constantly win. So that's one reason I feel that as much as there's resentment about the high price points in mobile dating, I think it'll stay around, whether it's going to be one monolithic subscription-based model or disaggregated into more usage-based payments. I think it's going to be around for a while.
Well, the other element to that is the privacy, right? That the fact you have to pay, then somebody's not going to go create a free profile just to see if any of their friends are on the service. If they have to pay to do that, they're probably not going to bother. And so that payment also provides a privacy from your social network if you don't want them knowing that you're on the service.
We'll take one last question.
I guess as it relates to just business models, I'm curious, how would you see a non-subscription-based model develop? Is there a way to do a meter-based model, an interaction-based model? Have you guys thought about it in Match? Or, and then also, how do you guys think about business, kind of broadly the business model outside of subscriptions?
I have some thoughts on that. You guys probably have better thoughts, but I haven't seen a lot of success. I think that there are a couple things that could work. The Zynga model, where you grow a large consumer base and then you monetize on your power users, is one model I think that could work. Monetizing on gift giving, virtual gift giving is an approach that's seen utilized. It's tough though, because now you're at a lower price point and you're just trying to get them to monetize that way. Ad supported in the space, I haven't seen a lot of success with. So I think there's some opportunities there, but in general, we've never been able to perform anything better than just leveraging the paywall and access to the service.
The way we're thinking about business model in our case is we want to adopt the freemium business model. And there are two reasons for that. The first reason is that solves one of the major problems of online dating, which is women get too many unwanted messages and men get too few replies. So that's why we say, every time you want to message somebody for the first time, that costs something, and it's free to respond. But the second reason why we think it's actually the right business model for mobile is freemium is the winning business model for smartphones. It's definitely the winning business model for games, and we think it will be the winning business model beyond gaming as well. And I think Flurry was showing about a year ago that over 60% of the revenues on gaming today, on mobile gaming today, comes from in-app purchase and come from this freemium business model, as opposed to like a much smaller number 6 months earlier. So this is I think it's important to actually adapt when you think about a new platform, to adapt to the most natural business model for that new platform.
Yeah, so I agree with Romain that you want to really leverage the platform monetization mechanism. I also think that there's like huge opportunities to describe by focusing on the entirety of the relationship as opposed to just the introduction part for monetization. When you think about it, people are willing to spend $20 a month on online dating sites, but they spend 10, 20 times that amount when they date.
Great.
Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess we're just going to wrap it up. I just wanted to thank the panel. Give these guys a good hand. We got about 30 more minutes left to be in the building, so mingle, hang out. Next month, very busy. Mobile Congress, GDC, Game Developer Conference, South by Southwest, so many things. So next month's event is TBD, but as soon as we know if something's going on, we'll let you guys know. Okay, guys? Have a good night. Hey, thank you, AOL. I don't know, anybody left from AOL?